Breaking news, we have another blockbuster trade. The Buffalo Bills have officially upgraded the wide receiver position and grabbed the former Raider and former Cleveland Brown and former Dallas Cowboys wide receiver, Amari Cooper. We're going to break this down and what we can expect from the Buffalo Bills. So this trade immediately followed the Davante Adams trade from the Raiders to the New York Jets. And this is actually pretty crazy because the Buffalo Bills were the team that I thought would trade for Davante Adams because they actually won last night. They won last night on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. I thought they looked like the better team despite the fact that they have injuries to the defensive line and also don't really have a bona fide number one wide receiver. We've been waiting for the Buffalo Bills to find that replacement for Stephon Diggs. They were able to draft the rookie wide receiver Keon Coleman in this past 2024 NFL draft, but you really need that stud playmaker, that number one guy to fill those shoes of Stephon Diggs. And the Buffalo Bills, unfortunately, allowed Stephon Diggs and the Houston Texans to get their revenge against him recently when they dropped the L last week to the Houston Texans after losing to the Baltimore Ravens. But at the end of the day, Buffalo Bills are 4-2 while the Jets are 2-4. And now the Bills have the tiebreaker against the New York Jets unless they, of course, lose to them later on in the season. And also, when it comes to the Miami Dolphins, the only other competition in the AFC East, Tua Tagovailoa is expected to come back soon, but does not seem healthy. Either way, Amari Cooper, Coop is officially a Buffalo Bill. I think this is going to be very successful. I think this is going to be better than Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Even though I like Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, I think there's a lot of problems there when it comes to the New York Jets compared to the Buffalo Bills. I mean, at least the Buffalo Bills still have their head coach. At least they didn't fire their guy in the middle of the season. This is crazy for Amari Cooper's career. Coming out of Alabama, one of the top picks in that 2015 NFL draft by the Oakland Raiders. This is the third time Amari Cooper has been traded in his NFL career. Oakland to Dallas, then Dallas to Cleveland, and now Cleveland to Buffalo. Remember when he was originally traded from the Raiders to the Dallas Cowboys in 2018, it was for a first round pick. This guy was a first round pick and they had to actually extend his contract. The Dallas Cowboys, they had to give him a decent contract extension. So in my opinion, the Raiders got an amazing deal by sending away Amari Cooper when they were rebuilding in 2018. And when it comes to this trade compensation, now the Cowboys, remember the Dallas Cowboys in 2022 were able to trade Amari Cooper away to the Cleveland Browns during that offseason. And they actually just exchanged a 5th round pick and a swap for a pack of 6 rounders, really only getting a 5th round pick and moving up in the draft by trading away Amari Cooper. So they really got absolutely nothing. The Cowboys got fleeced for Cooper, who is still a top wide receiver and actually was able to prove that while on the Cleveland Browns. I mean, don't get me wrong. This guy became the first player in team history for the Cleveland Browns. And it's because the Browns haven't had many great wide receivers besides Josh Gordon to have consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, 1,100 yards in 2022, 1,200 yards last year in 2023. And that's with the broken Deshaun Watson, the Deshaun Watson who's not playing at an extremely high level right now. There's actually this crazy statistic, which is that wide receivers with 20% of their targets being inaccurate due to the quarterback's throw, Amari Cooper is right up there with Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill is having to deal with backup QBs because Tua is injured. So imagine what Amari Cooper can do with Josh Allen this season. This is not because Amari Cooper is a bad player. It seems like the Browns are cashing in and just really trying to punt the next 3 seasons while they pay off Deshaun Watson. I think that team is completely rebuilding. And when you look at the Browns, I mean, they got more compensation than what Jerry Jones and the Cowboys got for Amari Cooper when he sent them to the Browns. The Browns receive a 3rd round pick and a 7th round pick in 2026, and the Bills were able to get a 6th round pick back for Amari Cooper. So this is great compensation for the Cleveland Browns. You see Davante Adams get traded away for a 3rd round pick. They were literally able to get the same compensation for Amari Cooper. That's absolutely pretty insane. I would figure, and most of us would assume, that Davante Adams would be a little bit more than Amari Cooper, but not really. Davante Adams could turn into a second-round pick if the Jets make the AFC Championship game, or he becomes All-Pro, but he's not going to become All-Pro after missing 3 games. Amari Cooper's age right now is 30 years old, while Davante Adams is 31 years old. So the Bills get a younger wide receiver by only a year, and the Browns receive just as much as the Raiders received for Davante Adams. That is absolutely insane. Remember, this trade pushing Amari Cooper out of the Browns has kind of been in the works for a while. Remember, the Browns were rumored to be a part of the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes from the San Francisco 49ers. They were rumored to actually be trying to trade the Niners for Amari Cooper and draft capital in exchange for Brandon Ayuk. So Amari Cooper could have been a San Francisco 49er. The Browns could have received Brandon Ayuk, but Ayuk was not down. And Amari Cooper posted on Instagram around that. When all those reports were coming out in August that could be a possibility, Amari Cooper said, "I wouldn't mind at all. LOL, I wouldn't mind at all." So Cooper has been eyeing leaving the Cleveland Browns for a little bit. He knows they've been trying to move on from him, and now he gets to pair up with Josh Allen. When it comes to the San Francisco 49ers, they got tons of issues with injuries right now. I think Amari Cooper is going to be pretty happy being with the Cleveland Browns. You actually had his reaction from NFL insider Josina Anderson. Amari Cooper said the general manager of the Browns, Andrew Berry, called him and told him what was going on. And Amari Cooper said, "As far as playing with Josh Allen, I've always been a fan of his game. I'm sure to see it up close and personal and play alongside him. I'm sure it's going to be great. I've been in this situation before, so it helps. I'm just excited to turn a new chapter and be able to continue." So what a crazy life and a crazy career for Amari Cooper. Raiders, Cowboys, Browns, and now the Buffalo Bills. He's seen franchises at their top when they've really been clicking, and franchises when they've taken a downward turn with the Raiders. Unfortunately, I'm a Raiders fan, and Cleveland Browns. And look, Cooper, 2,660 yards and 16 touchdowns over 2+ seasons in Cleveland. That is with Joe Flacco. That is with Deshaun Watson, a broken Deshaun Watson. I think this is great for both sides. And I personally think that the Jets are delusional to think that they could win the division this year just because they have Davante Adams. I hope so, because I'm a big fan of Davante Adams and a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, but I just don't see it happening. I think the Jets are going to be looking towards next year. Bills have a lead, first place in the AFC East, first place in the division with that 4-2 record, well ahead of the New York Jets. Man, I don't know how the Jets are going to bridge that gap. And could this not be a better schedule for the Buffalo Bills going forward? You play the Tennessee Titans, a good defense, but an offense that makes mistakes. They're going to be able to win that game decisively, in my opinion. Seattle Seahawks the following week, a team with tons of injuries and tons of problems. I think it's Geno Smith's last year, and I think they're going to totally decline in the second half of the season. You got, tons of issues there. So that's 2 dubs. Then you play the Miami Dolphins. Even if the Miami Dolphins get Tua back, they're not going to be better. You cannot tell me that Tua is going to be the same after that devastating injury. And then you play the Indianapolis Colts. Is it going to be Joe Flacco? Is it going to be Anthony Richardson? There's issues there. They've been losing games even with Joe Flacco. That's 4 dubs in a row I could see with Amari Cooper. You're implementing Amari Cooper. You're working him into the scheme and these games. You're not going to completely rush it. You're going to keep rolling with your guys. Bills are going to keep utilizing somebody like Curtis Samuel, Shakir, and start working out Mac Hollins, who seems like a nice guy, but don't think we want Mac Hollins to be your number 1 wide receiver on this team. And he got a touchdown against the New York Jets, so give him some credit. But you're going to start working those guys out. So you got 4 games that I predict the Bills are decidedly going to win those games. And then you play the Chiefs and the Niners. So right when it starts to get tough, Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions, damn, that's a hard stretch of 4 games. But you've already had 4 games with Amari Cooper against beatable teams that you're favored to win. So I think this is a great situation for the Buffalo Bills. And I hope Amari Cooper and Josh Allen have success. Subscribe to me, Wi-Fi Willie, for more NFL content. Peace out. And I hope you have a good one.